Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is August 20th, 2023, and it's reported that Barcelona have mostly ruled out the possibility of signing Ivan Fresneda. Also, Serginho Dest has traveled to the Netherlands to seal his transfer to PSV Eindhoven. And finally, there are rumors stating that Barcelona could be considering transferring or offloading Marcos Alonso. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and I apologize for this late video, but as I mentioned yesterday, I did have a wedding to attend to today. So I just got home from the wedding and I immediately started recording so I can bring you all the news from today in regards to Barcelona. And of course, the wedding is the reason why I wasn't able to hold the post-match live stream analysis. But don't be afraid, I will discuss today's match briefly during this video. So stay tuned to hear what my thoughts are about the Barcelona versus Cadiz match. Now, having said all of that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kit bag. And if you are looking to place any sports bet, make sure you hit the bet us. Both links are down below in the description. Now, I'll begin with the news that Barcelona defeated Cadiz today 2-0 in what was the first official home match of Barcelona at the Olympic Stadium, with late goals of both Pedri and Ferran Torres. This was another match where I was disappointed as far as the tactics of Xavi Hernandez, and I will discuss 3 negative things and 3 positive things about today's match. I started with the negative things. The first thing is that I still see a team that's confused on what to do in the final third of the field. Now, I see a team that builds the play, and once they make it into the final third, they don't know what to do. They don't know whether to pass the ball, shoot the ball, or attempt to dribble. And this is something that Xavi Hernandez and the squad are gonna have to work on really hard. Otherwise, we're gonna see a repeat of last season, where Barcelona were barely winning matches 1-0. Now, the second negative thing is that I saw again a collapse of the midfield, just like against Getafe, due to the overuse of midfielders, where Xavi Hernandez deployed 5 midfielders, which I think is an absolute mistake to do against smaller teams who like to defend with a low block. Because when you use a lot of midfielders, what you're trying to do is win the midfield, and against teams who like to play with the low block defense, those teams cede the midfield to you already, so you don't have to fight for the midfield because you've already won it before the match even begins. So there's no need to use or deploy so many midfielders. I think against teams like these, Xavi needs to be more aggressive and come out with a 4-3-3 formation, or if he does want to use 4 midfielders, then maybe with that 3-4-3 formation. But it's very important to be a lot more aggressive and less cautious, because after all, these teams do not pose an attacking threat. Now, the third negative thing that I saw in today's match was yet another repeat of the Getafe match, where we saw horrible refereeing, where once again it looks like Cadiz watched Getafe's match and knew that they might be able to get away with some things, and that's exactly what happened. And even though it wasn't as dirty as the Getafe match, we saw the Cadiz players committing a lot of fouls against Barcelona players. Again, with the elbows, with the holding, committing fouls against players who didn't even have the ball. And for most of the time, the referee allowed for those fouls to happen. And we even saw a clear foul against Laminamal in Cadiz's box, which should have been a penalty kick in favor of Barcelona. Yet once again, Barcelona were robbed of that opportunity. Now, moving on to the 3 positive things, and number 1 is Laminamal, as you could have guessed it, because it was once again a great match by the 16-year-old La Masia crown jewel, who started for the first time in an official match for Barcelona, becoming the youngest player to start for Barcelona in the history of the club. And my God, once again, he looked like he's been playing in the first team for several years. This kid is absolutely fearless. He is not afraid of trying things out. He's amazing on the ball and in his dribbling. And he even has a pretty lethal crosses. And I was very impressed with the performance of this youngster, who plays with absolutely no fear or pressure. But I do have to say one thing. I think Xavi Hernandez, or Oscar Hernandez, who was the coach for this match since Xavi was suspended, I think he took too long to substitute Laminamal, who came out around the 84th or 85th minute, and it looked like he was absolutely exhausted. And this is not something you can do with a 16-year-old who's still developing as far as his physicality and his muscles. He should have definitely came off much earlier. Now, the second positive thing is Ansafati and Ferran Torres, who look very motivated, and I really like the performance of both players, and it looks like both Ansafati and Ferran Torres are looking to make up for what they didn't do last season. And having said that, I was not impressed with Robert Lewandowski, and I'm not saying because he failed to score goals. As I've said many times before, Lewandowski is failing to score goals because he doesn't have proper wingers to feed him the ball. But what I'm not impressed with is that I see Lewandowski very slow in his movement, very slow with his reaction. So I think that Lewandowski needs some rest. And if I was Xavi Hernandez, I would definitely start Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres, and maybe even Abde over Lewandowski, or make it that my attacking trident with Ansu Fati, Abde, and Ferran next match, because I really think we need to give the Polish striker some rest. Now, the third positive thing from this match, and I have to say that Barcelona have really done an amazing job making these two signings, which are Andreas Christensen, who I believe is a highly underrated defender who had an amazing match yet once again. And let's remember that he signed for Barcelona for €0. And of course, Oriol Romeo, who once again had a brilliant match as the pivot, and he signed for €3.5 million. And having signed these two players for a total of €3.5 million is just a testament of the great job that Barcelona are doing in signing players. Now, having said all of that, the important thing is that Barcelona won the match and they took home 3 very important points. But again, I was not impressed with the team as far as the tactics. So I think the team still needs to improve. And Barcelona will face off against Villarreal on Sunday, August the 27th. Now, as I reported previously, Ronald Araujo has suffered an injury in his left hamstring, and as a result, he will be missing around 4 weeks of action. And it's reported today that he will miss out on the FIFA international break thanks to a decision handed down by Barcelona. Now, Ronald Araujo again will miss around 4 weeks of action, which means he will be coming back from injury right around the FIFA international break, where Ronald Araujo is set to go back to Uruguay to join his squad for the South American or the World Cup qualifiers, where Uruguay are going to be facing off against Chile on September 8th. And it's reported that Barcelona have denied the player permission to travel to Uruguay to join his squad because, again, he will be coming back from injury right around the international break, so they don't want him risking his health and end up getting injured in those World Cup qualifiers. Now, on to the news that Barcelona have practically ruled out the possibility of signing Ivan Fresneda. As we've been talking about these past few days, Deco has been insisting that Barcelona sign Ivan Fresneda, even if the club do end up signing Joao Cancelo. And even though the club had decided to listen to Deco's advice, it's reported that Barcelona are now practically ruling out the possibility of signing Fresneda, because Barcelona have realized that it will not be economically feasible to spend all that money on signing Joao Cancelo and then turn around and sign also Ivan Fresneda. Now, I'm really sad to see this, and I think it will be a mistake that the club might end up regretting in the future, because even though Joao Cancelo is one of the best right backs in the world, he will be turning 30 years old this season, which means that Barcelona will have to look for another right back in another 2 or 3 years. And signing Ivan Fresneda, it could have been the answer to that. But of course, it is what it is, and that's the economy of the club, thanks to Bartomeu, who has left the club in financial ruin. And unfortunately, Barcelona will not be able to sign both Cancelo and Fresneda. So it looks like we'll be missing out on one of the most promising right backs currently in La Liga. Now, speaking of right backs, it's reported that Serginho Dest has traveled to the Netherlands in order to seal his transfer to PSV Eindhoven. Now, as I reported in yesterday's video, both PSV Eindhoven and Nice were trying to sign Serginho Dest on a 1-season loan, and it looks like the Dutch club have won this race, and Serginho Dest will be joining PSV Eindhoven. Now, Serginho Dest will join PSV Eindhoven for a one-season loan with an option to buy worth 10 million euros, and where Barcelona will cover half of the player's salary, because as reported previously, Serginho Dest has an incredibly high salary, which many teams cannot afford. Now, it's reported that Serginho Dest has traveled to Eindhoven in the Netherlands in order to pass his medical exams and seal his move to the Dutch club, which will of course clear some space on the wage bill of Barcelona, which will allow the club to continue registering the contracts of the pending players. Now, speaking of registering contracts of pending players, it's reported that Barcelona could be considering offloading Marcos Alonso. Now, Barcelona have yet to register the contract of Marcos Alonso, and officially speaking, the club have made it very clear that they're working very hard to register the contract of the Spanish defender. But behind closed doors, it's being rumored that Barcelona could be considering offloading the Spanish left back. Now, it's reported that Xavi Hernandez was not impressed on Marcos Alonso's performance during the preseason. Xavi Hernandez noticed Marcos Alonso was being very slow and was not too impressed with how he was playing. And as a result, it's rumored that Barcelona could be considering the offloading of Alonso. Now, it's reported that Marcos Alonso does have interest from other clubs, including Inter Milan and some clubs in the Premier League. And it's also reported that the player would not be opposed to leaving the club and that he would study any offer that Barcelona would bring him to the table, because he does not want to cause any problems, and he's very thankful that he has had the opportunity to play for Barcelona. Now, this has not been confirmed by the club itself. The club's position is that they're working hard to register the player, and if they do receive an offer, that they will study it just like anyone else. But there are plenty rumors, and these rumors are starting to get stronger and stronger, that Barcelona are considering offloading Alonso, which could be a good deal for the club, because after all, Marcos Alonso did arrive on a free transfer. So whatever Barcelona can get off his transfer would be absolutely pure profit. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I would like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, Visca Barça.